Hi, I'm Marci Kobayashi, and I'm back again today with another section from my book, Finding Yoyu. I'm going to jump right in, and I'll be reading off the screen in front of me. We can't leave them here on their own anymore, I whispered. Akira sighed. そうだね。このままはダメだね. You're right. Things can't go on as is. We laid side by side with our futons pulled next to each other. With no central heating, I could see my husband's breath. We had our electric blankets turned up high, but it was so cold in the room that we both wore scarves and hoodies. When he turned to look at me, all I could see were his eyes and nose. There was no doubt in my mind that it was time for us to step in and care for Akira's parents. I could see in his eyes that there was no doubt in his mind either. We knew. When we looked at each other in the dark, we knew that we weren't starting a new stage. The new stage had begun without us, and we needed to decide how we wanted to participate. Though so many of the days following have blurred together, that night in the cold, dark room is still crystal clear. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Those moments in life that you always remember. There was no earthquake, no thunder and lightning, no howling wind, no shooting stars, not even wild sex. Just a quiet moment with clarity of purpose. We both knew our life had just turned upside down, but we both had different ideas for how it would look going forward. I automatically assumed taking care of Akira's parents meant I would stay with them at their house in the mountains. As a budding web designer, all I needed was a computer and an internet connection. Akira was a professor at a university in Tokyo and still 10 years away from retirement. He had a full schedule, and teaching remotely was not an option. Since my work was mobile, there was no reason why I shouldn't be the one to relocate. I knew I could do it, and we would figure out the rest as we went along. I rolled over so I could see him more clearly. I tried to convince Akira that my idea would work. We could Skype every day, and he could visit every few weeks. I tried to convince him that the 13+ hours it takes to get there would be a nice break from his regular routine. We used to always drive, and it was grueling, but he could take the train and kick back and read instead. I was sure it would be better for his parents to stay in their community amongst friends and relatives. I'm forever grateful that Akira immediately disagreed with my plan. He was adamant that if we were going to make this happen, it would have to happen in Tokyo. If we were going to take care of his parents, it had to be together and in our home, not theirs. A part of me must have known Akira was right because I didn't argue. I rolled back over and stared at the ceiling. Eventually, I heard Akira's breathing deepen, and he started to snore. I knew he was right, that we had to do it together. I also knew it was going to be up to me, not him, to make it happen. I felt that weird crisis mode adrenaline kick in. Yes, I can do this. I'm good in a crisis. I knew I could do it. I tossed and turned, mulling over all the details, and eventually fell asleep. When I asked Akira about it the other day, he says he doesn't remember. He doesn't remember me offering to stay and had no idea that all these months later I still think about it. He doesn't remember that it was his decision. I take that back. It's not fair nor true to say it was his decision. He voiced his opinion, and though I had some doubts, I chose to follow. When I asked him why he didn't consider asking me to go live with his parents, he said he didn't want our relationship to break up. He was concerned that if we lived separately like that for many months, it would put a strain on our relationship. Having been divorced once before, he didn't want the risk. We both get a giggle out of this because little did we know at the time what a huge strain it would be on our relationship anyway to have his parents move into our tiny home in Tokyo. And that's where we'll stop for today. I'm curious if after listening to this, you remember any of the big decisions you've made in your life, and if you resonate or not with this, and how did you make your decision? Was it easy? Was it a split-second decision? Did you think about it for a long time? Or was it one of those instant knowings like we had in the dark that night in Hiroshima? Thanks for listening. Bye for now.